Thank you for joining us today for the head coach's press conference for the 2025 Valero Alamo Bowl. It's my pleasure to welcome the head coach of USC, Lincoln Riley, and head coach for TCU, Sonny Dykes. Let's begin with an opening statement from Coach Riley, whose Trojans are this year's visiting team.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. The Alamo Bowl, Valero as the sponsor, the entire city of San Antonio has been incredibly welcoming to our team, our staff, our families. We've had a great several days here in San Antonio. It's been great to get back to Texas, a lot of great memories here, and certainly excited about the game tomorrow. Coach Dykes and his staff have obviously done a tremendous job at TCU, and we know it's going to be a great challenge, and it's great to be able to compete against a great friend and somebody that has been great to me throughout my entire career, especially as a younger coach when we were both at Texas Tech during some great years there. So, yeah, a lot of great memories. It's been a tremendous week. Thankful to everybody that's been a part of this to make this happen for us, and certainly looking forward to the game tomorrow night.
Thank you. Coach Dykes?
Yeah, to echo a lot of the things Lincoln said. I can't imagine a better city to host a bowl game than San Antonio. It's just it's been great for our players, been tremendous for our fans. I know our coaches' families have had a great time. Valero is obviously a tremendous host. They a tremendous sponsor. They've done a great job of taking care of everybody. Our players have had a lot of fun this week. The guys have commented that this has, been first class in every way, shape, and form. It's one of the best bowl games, and Lincoln brought this up the other day. I mean, bowl games matter still in college football. They're important. The memories that our players will have from this week together, time with their families, our families, our coaches' wives and kids, and being able to spend time with our players is just invaluable. It just means so much to the development of these young people, and just makes a difference. And again, it's some memories that they'll remember forever. We're excited to play against USC, a very talented football team. Had a tremendous year. There'll be a big challenge, and as Lincoln said, we've known each other for a long time. It's fun when you get a chance to play against people that you admire in the profession. Lincoln's obviously had an incredible career. Knew he was going to be really successful when I was around him when he was a young coach. Just really sharp guy, hardworking, very mature. Just knew he was going to be incredibly successful, and I know his team will be very well prepared tomorrow night, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
We'll open it for questions now. Please raise your hand. Front.
Coach Riley, Jeremy Clark, 24/7 Sports. This one's for you. You had some pretty good success when you were in the Big 12 playing TCU. What was kind of your first reaction when you found out you were going to be playing against the Horned Frogs?
Yeah, there were some great battles certainly throughout the years there. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, and but yeah, it brings back a lot of great memories. Obviously, not just for me, but with my family. My brother Garrett obviously coached for Coach Dykes, and they obviously had a great run there together. So it's always been a program and a place that I've admired for a long time. Obviously, there's been a great run of success that Coach Dykes has continued and even taken to a whole nother level. So Fort Worth is a tremendous city. It's a great place. Obviously, Texas as a whole is very just near and dear to me. So, yeah, to be back here in Texas playing, to play against that program is tremendous. It's one I have a lot of respect for, and sure will be another great battle tomorrow night.
Front, Jamie.
Coach Dykes, you referred to bowl games recently as the first game of the next season and how you are approaching this game. You made a decision to start a quarterback who is in his last game. He's been a good soldier for you the last few years. How do you balance wanting to win the football game versus using it to take that next step?
Yeah, it's interesting because especially this bowl game, it's pretty late, so the fact that it's December 30th and we didn't play in the Big 12 championship, it gave us a lot of time to prepare. And so, the way we tried to approach it was really to accomplish two goals. Number one, to have, 12, 13 practices to bring our young players along. It's almost like an extra spring practice. And so we tried to approach it that way, just get those guys more reps, spend some time looking at some of the young players that have been scout team players for us that we think will probably play for us next season. So those reps are invaluable. The growth that those guys had in those practices, I mean, you could see it really on a day-to-day basis. And so it was that was very encouraging. And then obviously the second part of it is to do everything you can to prepare your team to play well and win the game. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach. But I do think in a lot of ways, especially now in today's world, a lot of some guys aren't playing in the game, and so it gives you a chance really to kind of focus on some guys that you're really going to count on next season. And so I think from that perspective, it is the first peek at next year's team in a lot of ways. And our guys are looking forward to it and excited about it. Now, we've been lucky. We've had a lot of guys that have, decided that they wanted to play and they wanted to compete, and proud of those guys for wanting to do that. But it has been some really, really valuable reps for those young players.
Far left, front row.
A question for Sonny. Sonny, how have you seen the team kind of rally around Ken the last couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard not to like Ken Seals. You know what I mean? Ken's been the backup quarterback for a couple of years for us, and he's probably my son's favorite player, and so that tells you just kind of what kind of personality Ken's got. He's a guy that everybody really respects, admires. He's one of those players that there were times, we got into fall camp and we thought he performed, just every bit as well as our starting quarterback performed. And so, it's hard for him, when you're the backup quarterback sometimes, and especially when you're older than the starter, it can be tough. It can be tough to practice at a high level. It can be tough to be mentally focused and go out there and give it your all every day when there's probably not a great chance that you're going to play. But Ken never did that. I mean, he showed up every day, had the best attitude. He loves being at TCU. He's a local guy, and I think it's meant the world for him to have a chance to come home and just be a part of TCU and go to school and be around these teammates. The guys love him. The guys respect him. He's a cool guy, and I think that, I expect our team to rally around him. And he's had a great week of practice. When he started getting a lot of reps, you can tell there was a little bit of rust. Some of the decision-making things were probably a little slower than you want him to be. And then as he got more reps, he started to look like the starting quarterback. And so, I'm just thankful for him and his commitment to his teammates. Just kind of what kind of person he is, and again, the guys have really rallied around him, and they're excited to play for him.
Coach Dykes, along those same lines, Eric's playing in this game.
Yep.
But he was one of those guys that during a team meeting, he got up, told everyone to rally behind Ken.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to have a leader like that step up, especially a guy that doesn't have to play this game, but he's telling everyone, hey, you better play.
Yeah. I think it all started with those older guys. I think it started with the Bud Clarks of the world. Bud's kind of seen it all. 4 years ago, Bud was playing, for a national championship, and so he's been through it. He's seen it all. And I think when you have that kind of leadership, a guy like Bud, that helped Eric get in line with Caleb Orr, and then all of a sudden, the guys just all made a commitment to each other and just said, look, man, we started this, let's finish this together. Could not be more proud of them for having that mentality, and especially Eric. I think Eric has been one of those players that has grown up so much. It's been fun to see. He was a guy that, again, he's from Azle. He appreciates being home. He went to Boise, came back to DFW area and came back to Fort Worth, and just, he appreciates it. He appreciates being around his family. He appreciates, playing for TCU, a school he grew up rooting for and watching. And so I think all that stuff matters. In the world of college football now, everybody just talks about money and everybody talks about this and that and all these things. And really, being a good teammate matters. Making a commitment to each other matters. Those guys, they love each other. They care about each other. They don't want to let each other down. And so, Eric has been a guy that has, has really grown in that role. And I think, as you said, when he stood up in that team meeting, he said, look, Ken Seals is my guy. Let's go. I think everybody in the room, got excited. And decided to rally behind Ken. And again, the guys believe in him and they're confident in him.
Other questions? Brian?
Coach Riley, this is the first time the media has gotten to speak to you since the announcement that the Notre Dame USC series would be postponed. So what are your thoughts on that announcement?
Yeah, I'd be happy to discuss it. I think everybody knows how I feel about the game. I've said it multiple times that one of my first thoughts when I took the job at USC was getting to be a part of that rivalry. And I have a deep respect for college football. Been a part of some really great rivalries. Obviously, this is right there up at the top. It's pretty simple. We've both worked for months to try to find a solution. Notre Dame was very vocal about the fact that they would play us anytime, anywhere. And obviously them not having a conference affiliation gives them an ability to be pretty flexible with their scheduling. We went back, Jen Cohen, our AD, went back to Notre Dame roughly a couple of weeks ago with a scenario and a proposal that would extend the series for the next 2 years. And we took Notre Dame at their word that they would play us anytime, anywhere. That proposal was rejected. Not only was it rejected, 5 minutes after we got the call, it was announced that they had scheduled another opponent, which I'll give them credit. That might be the fastest scheduling act in college football history. So I know there's been a lot of back and forth on it. I know college football has changed a lot. But the fact is very, very clear, and this can all be settled very quickly. Had Notre Dame lived up to their word and played us anytime, anywhere, we would be playing them the next 2 years and looking ahead after that and hopefully continuing the series. They did not follow through on it, thus we are not playing them the next couple of years. We're hopeful something can be worked out in the future. That'd be fantastic. We at SC would love for the game to continue, and we have no problem following through on our promises in the future.
Thank you, Coach. Other questions?
You know what? That was a hell of an answer. You know what? I mean, look, let me just say this. Scheduling is tough in college football. I mean, it really is. I mean, we had the same thing with the SMU series, and it's just tough. I mean, SMU was in a situation where they had 8 conference games, and we had 9. That made it very difficult, as Lincoln said. I mean, it's hard to schedule teams when you're in a conference and you have 9 games, especially when you're in the Big Ten and you have those kind of quality opponents. And so, all of us have to look out for our program and do what's best for our program. But man, scheduling's tough, and it's tough. Some of these old rivalries go away because of that. And like I said, I mean, I think everybody assumes it's really, really easy, and those things are very difficult. And anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. I don't know anything about it, but it's harder than people think.
Front row.
Question for Coach Riley. You hired Anthony Jones from TCU a couple years ago. What type of impact has he made on the program?
Anthony's done a great job. Obviously, he developed a lot in Coach Dykes' program, and so that was definitely an appealing factor to me right away, as I knew he had obviously worked in a great program and worked for a tremendous head coach and had a lot of success. And so now Anthony's been great. Probably a lot of the same things that Sonny would say that he brought to TCU. He's an energetic coach, high energy. Brings great background from being a former high school head coach, so a lot of great perspective there, and he's really tough on our guys, holds them accountable at the highest level. Great person, man, a lot of integrity, so we've loved having him.
Front row.
It's for Coach Dykes. I was just curious if you can recall a specific memory in which working with Coach Riley, you're like, this guy's going to be different, this guy's going to be special. Yeah,
I mean, I think, you kind of saw it early on. I mean, he just, I think one of the Lincoln strengths is he's a really good communicator, and I think that's, coaching is teaching, and that's what we do is we teach young people, and we teach them how to play football and a lot of other stuff, but yeah, he was always good at communicating. He had a really clear sense of how to talk to players and how to be able to make a point with somebody. Was really bright, hardworking guy. The cool thing about Mike Leach was Mike empowered young coaches, and I had kind of gone through the same thing. I was Mike's GA in 1997 at Kentucky, and then went with Mike to Texas Tech in 2000 and got hooked up with Lincoln shortly thereafter. And Mike did that for me when I was a GA. He gave me a ton of responsibility, and I think that's why so many of guys that worked on that staff have gone on to be successful, is because, he gave us probably more responsibility than we deserved, and he believed in us and he empowered us, and he gave us confidence, and he did the same thing for Lincoln. And I think that I always expected him to be really successful, and then I saw the Alamo Bowl when he called the game. I believe that was 2009. I remember watching the game, going, okay, this guy's getting ready to take off. And went to East Carolina, was really successful then. And I'll never forget, I was coaching at Cal, and Bob Stoops called me and asked me about Lincoln. Just said, what do you think about this guy? And I just said, look, it's a home run. You need to hire him if you get a chance to do it. And and obviously did a tremendous job as a coordinator there and as a head coach, and launched just a fantastic career.
Brian, do you have a question?
So Coach Riley, I want to get the follow-up to that, since he talked about Mike Leach. There's so much representation, first and foremost, with both of you. So what goes through your mind when you see the impact not only he had on your career, but of those of so many?
Yeah, I think this, for a lot of us, is a full circle moment. Being at this game brings back a lot of memories, not just of that week in 2009, but just, again, being here with Sonny, and there's still several members of both of our staffs, and obviously families and all that were a part of those years. And so, yeah, it's kind of wild to, you think back to like those times, those late nights in the office there at Tech, because Mike wasn't there till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon anyway. So
A lot of late nights.
a lot of late nights. So yeah, just to like think back to those meetings, you're holed back in a staff room in Lubbock, Texas, and then now to see like where all these people have gone and where these careers have taken us, our families, the different experiences we've had and been able to be a part of. Like, it's kind of wild that it just all started there, really, in so many ways. So, like Sonny said, Mike deserves a ton of credit, because he did. He really started something fantastic, and was great for a lot of us to work for and to come up under. And then I think for all of us, there's a sense of pride of when any of us does well, right? It is almost like its own little fraternity in a way. And so you're always rooting for all the other guys that are across the country in all these different positions to do well. And then I think, there's definitely been a couple of moments this year where I kind of like last time, that I was here, like Mike was here and with us. We had that at Nebraska. We played at Nebraska this year, and we walked into that visitor's locker room, and that was like my first, it's like, man, last time we were here, we were, beating Nebraska at Texas Tech, and we're in here celebrating, and Mike's getting up there, giving a post-game speech, and nobody has any idea what he's talking about, but it was great, right? And then, yeah, certainly being here, being with Sonny and his family, all of us here together, it is a little bit surreal, to be honest, but it's been cool to see everybody's success, and obviously that all started with Mike.
Thank you, Coach. We have time for a couple more questions. Jamie in front.
Sonny, on that, with the impact and the influence of Coach Leach on you and on the sport, it's immeasurable. Do you take some of those lessons? I'm thinking about Mitch right now, and how you've worked with him. Do you take some of those lessons? Into that?
It's funny. I had that conversation with Mitch. I just said, Mitch, I expect you to go out and call a hell of a game and be the head coach at Oklahoma in 4 years. So that's kind of the Lincoln set the bar pretty high when it comes to doing that, But yeah, it's same thing. To me, you want to emulate the people that you care about and they're really successful, and Empower and Mitch was a Mike Leach move. You know what I mean? And so it was. It was one of those things for me that he deserved it. He's ready to do it. But yeah, I think that you look, you look at what Mike did for all of us and how he did it, and again, responsibility that he gave us that we probably, quite frankly, hadn't earned, but he just saw something in people. And, you know, and yeah, hopefully Mitch will take this opportunity and run with it. I fully expect him to. He's worked really hard. He's well prepared and excited, and he's a bright young guy and somebody that I expect will have a tremendous success in his career.
Final questions? Coaches, if you could stand for a photo as we close the press conference, thank you for your time.